Brooklyn News Live begins right now. Here's Jackson Mitchell.
And it is so good to be with you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. We are coming on the air for the late night PM edition of Brooklyn News Live. So good to be with you all. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Lots of news to cover for the huge. We are following so much this hour, so there is so much to get to. First, though, we have this news over in DC. We have Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth attending this event in Washington, a military parade, specifically Marine Corps. You saw Hegseth there standing. Let's go live out to that event, monitor it for a few moments. Plus, we've got so much more other news to catch you guys up to when it comes to the Epstein files. We're covering that a little later in the night. We're talking on this, we're playing a press conference really on this LA LASD, which is the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. Some news there. We are following it. We'll bring you guys up to date on all of this. But first, this event, Secretary Pete Hegseth attends a military parade.
Please be seated. As we prepare for pass in review, please direct your attention to the two marching companies assembled before you. These companies are comprised of infantry Marines who were hand-selected to serve at Marine Barracks, Washington. In addition to parade support, these companies conduct joint service honor ceremonies at the Pentagon, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and the White House. These Marines also have the solemn duty and distinct honor of performing dignified transfer ceremonies for fellow Marines who have made the ultimate sacrifice while serving our country, as well as laying our Marines and their families to rest in Arlington National Cemetery. When not performing ceremonial functions, the Marines of Companies A and B hone their infantry skills in preparation for future service in combat units of the Fleet Marine Forces. Ladies and gentlemen, when the colors approach you, we ask that you please rise.
already, you have been watching there and listening in to a Marine Corps parade. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth attending that event. We do have so much more news to go to this hour, though, including the DOJ uh, asking for a Manhattan court to release jury testimony. Meanwhile, Trump is suing over alleged birthday letters. It's all an Epstein case. So there was lots of news there that we are going to get to this hour at some point in time. We'll start with some of the stuff now, and I know that we also had a speech from President Donald Trump a little later, and that will play a little later. I do want to go first to this news though. Give me just a moment. I think we can do it here. You guys hold with me. I want to go to the first line here of our do we have that? It looks like we do. Give me just a second, everybody. Boom, boom, boom. I need this button. Sorry, looking for the right button here. Mabel. I sure am. Okay, I want to go first to this New York Times article that I want to read to you all. Of course, this information not confirmed by Brookland News. Well, whether the court documents are, but like some of this information about the birthday letters and things of that nature, I don't have access to the letters, meaning I cannot confirm that in its 100% authenticity. I want to go first, though, to the story on the Justice Department asking a Manhattan court to unseal Epstein grand jury testimony. So I want to read that in its entirety here. It says, we'll start here. Again, this is from the New York Times. It says, the Justice Department asked a federal judge on Friday to unseal grand jury testimony from the prosecution of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein as President Trump seeks to dispel a storm of criticism and conspiracy theories coming from many of his supporters. The request was filed in the federal district court in Manhattan, where Mr. Epstein was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges 6 years ago when he was found dead by hanging in his jail cell a month later after he was arrested. The New York City medical examiner ruled the death a suicide. The government also sought the unsealing of grand jury testimony from the case of Ghislaine Maxwell, the solicited sol- the solicit who in a 2021 trial was convicted of helping Mr. Epstein facilitate his sex trafficking scheme and sentenced to 20 years in prison. She has appealed her conviction. Quote, public officials, lawmakers, pundits, and ordinary citizens remain deeply interested and concerned about the Epstein matter, Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy Tom Blanche wrote in a motion to the court seeking to unseal the transcripts. Quote, the time for the public to guess what they contain should end. Ms. Bondi and Mr. Blanche referred in the motion to Mr. Epstein as the quote the most infamous pedophile in American history, unquote, and called the facts of the case, quote, a tale of national disgrace, unquote. The filings on Friday followed Mr. Trump's announcement in a social media post Thursday night that he had authorized Ms. Bondi to, quote, produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. Obtaining court approval for unsealing the testimony could be difficult because the records are shielded by grand jury secrecy to protect crime victims and witnesses. Judges rarely agree to grant public access to such materials. In their motion, Ms. Bondi and Mr. Blanche said the Justice Department would work with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, which prosecuted Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell to make, quote, appropriate redactions of information related to victims and, quote, other personal identifying information before the releasing the transcripts. Quote, transparency is the process will in this process, quote, I am sorry about that, will not be at the expense of our obligation under the law to protect victims, the official said in the motion. The unsealing effort could take months, and the materials being sought are most likely only a small part of the evidence collected in the investigation. That is a story there from the New York Times talking about this. So it goes on to talk about a number of different things there, but we read parts of that saying that the Justice Department requesting these grand jury testimony be I'm sorry, but be released, but didn't redact it at the same time, so it could be released completely to the public there. So we saw that, and we will monitor this story here on all of this because this comes at a time when the American people are really waiting. Hey, what are these Epstein files going to be released? This is something that the American people have for many years, many different presidential administrations. It's have called for, even during the Biden administration, but really the first Trump administration, Trump said this was going to be done, and I think the American people, I can't speak for the American people, but I can say what we have seen and the upset at what has come out of this administration when it comes to the Epstein files. So far, when it comes to what the first administration has done and this administration, the American people are not happy, to say the least, when it comes to a president who has called for the release of the Epstein files, but it has not been seen completely. And then a DOJ and FBI putting a memo out saying there was no quote client list when in a February interview, the Attorney General Pam Bondi says that a client list was quote sitting on her desk to be reviewed. She covers it up later by saying she was talking about the entire case. President Donald Trump asking why reporters are continuously reporting on this matter, and saying that he was a pedophile and kind of just trying to I don't want to use the lingo sweep under the rug because it sounds bad, and I'm not meaning it that way, but rather kind of quiet the story down. Then we have people breaking with the president on this story. So the story goes on, and it goes on even further past what this story says, because there is another story. If you guys hold with me here, let me go here. Hold with me here, because there's another story out. I'll read. This one's going to be from CNN. I just have to change things around here. Do we have it? There we go. Let me, boom. This story is going to be from CNN. They are reporting this news on kind of I'm going to zoom it in just a little bit so we can see a little bit better. And I'll just read it this way. Okay. There's another story from CNN. Let me scroll up so we can see the title here. Trump files a libel lawsuit over Wall Street Journal report on Jeffrey Epstein's birthday letters. Sorry, it's so zoomed in, but so zoomed in so we can read this right here. It says, quote, uh, one second. I'm sorry. Let me do this right here. Okay. It says President Donald Trump filed a libel lawsuit against the publisher of the Wall Street Journal and reporters who wrote a story about a collection of letters gifted to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday in 2003, including a note bearing Trump's name and an outline of a naked woman. The lawsuit, which seeks at least $20 billion, is an extraordinary escalation of Trump's ongoing legal campaign against media companies he views as opponents. Trump has denied that he wrote the note. In the 18-page filing, Trump's legal team accuses the journal's parent company of engaging in, quote, glaring failures in journalistic ethics and standards of accurate reporting. The filing notes of the journal in this story did not publish the drawing or the letter that its reporters allege Trump authored. I'll pause there because that's a big deal. The Wall Street Journal saying that this was a thing. They weren't saying, hey, there's a possibility that this letter was a thing. They say this letter is a thing, but they never provide the letter. They never show the letter in this story with the outline of a naked woman. That is something that was not shown at all in this story. If the Wall Street Journal has this, could this be something we see in further court filings? Likely. But also, I think CNN also noticed this in an earlier paragraph saying, this is an extraordinary escalation of Trump's ongoing. Oh, so I tried highlighting the paragraphs and we lost it. My apologies. It just calls it an extraordinary escalation in what has happened here. Maybe thought. Don't know what's happening here. Okay, but rather calling it extraordinary escalation. This comes after CBS Just to provide a little bit of context here, CBS and ABC, both two major news networks that have settled now with the Trump administration. I believe it was 60 million on the CBS side, and let me look it up. ABC settles with 15 million. Yep, 16 million. According to Politico, 15 million according to NPR, somewhere in that 15 and above range is how much ABC ended up settling with Trump. Why this is such an escalation? Because this is something that we have not seen in past administrations. A president-elect at the time when he talked about the ABC, suing networks for how they are reporting of the president. I believe the CBS was for their 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, and then ABC, I believe it was, it may have been George Stephanopoulos. Do not quote me. Do not quote me. I'm not sure exactly. But it was for one of their reporters, what he claimed as defamation, I believe. So, yep, it was a defamation lawsuit. Okay, so that is something that we have not seen in history, but now we're seeing it, and this is something that's now coming to light. So, from 15 million to 60 million to now billion, I believe is what that CNN article said. Yeah, 10 billion is how much he wants on this Wall Street Journal. Of course, if the Wall Street Journal ends up settling, or they take this, completely into kind of where prosecution and defense have to argue each other, we'll see where it goes. But that is something to talk about. We have got much more coming up on this Friday night, 9:14 p.m. here in Brooklyn. We are going to take a short break, though. We'll be right back. You're watching Brookland is Live. And welcome back into Brooklyn News Live on this Friday evening. We are monitoring the situation in Los Angeles, an LASD training facility, excuse me, there, leading to an explosion, prompting 3 officers to be killed. The explosion, at this point in time, the investigation still preliminary and early, said to have been accidental. A press conference held earlier today with Sheriff Robert Luna of Los Angeles County. Let's go live there. I'm sorry, not live there, but look at the recording there from earlier today. Again, this in Los Angeles, East Los Angeles, where this LASD training facility was. Let's listen in.
Well, good morning to everybody, and I want to thank you for being here, and your patience in waiting for us. We've been very busy, as you can imagine, over the last several hours. I'll be the only one speaking today, and I'll be answering your questions after I speak. But if you look around me, the team that I have, that I'm surrounded by, members of the board, my partner, Jim McDonald from the LAPD, Tony Maroney from LA County Fire, CHP. I could go on, and I'll talk about some of that as we go on. So it is a somewhat of a beautiful day today weather-wise, but there's definitely a black cloud hanging over the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and our county family. This morning, shortly after 7:30 a.m., an explosion occurred at our Special Enforcement Bureau, arson explosives detail facility located in the 1000 block of Northeastern Avenue in East Los Angeles, which is right behind this hill. Tragically, there were 3 sworn members who were fatally killed that were assigned to our arson explosives detail. No other department members were injured or transported to any hospitals. This is, unfortunately, the largest loss of life for us as the LA County Sheriff's Department since 1857. Between all 3 sworn members, they had served our community proudly for 74 years, and that's amongst all 3 of them collectively. 19 years, 22 years, and 33 years. And at this point, we are not giving out their names. One of the reasons it took me a while to get out here, one of my priorities is the families of our deputies. And I've met with several of them this morning. There are still others who are on their way. There are others who have not been notified. The last thing I want to do is them to turn on the news and find out that way. So thank you for respecting that at this point. My second priority were our employees. Our employees are hurting right now. Members of our Special Enforcement Bureau, other members of our arson detail as well, arson explosives detail. In regards to the details of what happened, I'm going to give you what I have right now. There's a lot more that we don't know than what we do know. But our intent is to look at this from the very beginning and figure out what is it exactly that caused this tragic event. Currently, our homicide detectives are on scene, and they are investigating the deaths that are we are being assisted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who are investigating the post-blast portion of this incident. You have seen other vehicles other than FBI. You've seen the ATF here. They will be assisting the FBI as well. I am very grateful to the bomb squad of the Los Angeles Police Department, and I mentioned Chief Jim McDonald standing behind me here. They immediately came out to assist after this explosion occurred to render the devices safe. And just so all of you know, they were just rendered safe within the last minutes, right before we walked out here. So it was still an active scene. It wasn't stable, and definitely a very active crime scene as we go forward. At this time, we do not know the cause of the explosion. However, this specific area has been closed off due to the ongoing investigation. We believe there is no threat to this community. Actually, I could tell you there is no threat to this community. This is an isolated incident. And again, no threats. We have road closures, Eastern Boulevard between Blatchard Street and Lotta Drive. And again, I do want to thank all of our local partners, our local elected officials that are here to help us get through this very difficult time. We have our Psychological Services Bureau personnel on scene that are assisting our employees at this moment, along with peer counseling and chaplain services. And as I said earlier, I have met with 2 of the 3 families thus far. And as you can imagine, those were extremely challenging conversations. So anyways, ready for questions.
Sheriff, what was the material that they were actually dealing with? Very explosive. The second question, what were the attempts to move it and transport it or render it safe here on the spot?
Those are all good questions that Pete just asked. Now that the investigation has started, now that the investigators can actually get in to the scene that it was just rendered safe, we will be able to answer all those questions. Too early right now to be able to answer that.
Were there other military style or military grade explosives nearby that were rendered safe by the LAPD monitors?
We will know that hopefully in the next couple of hours.
Sir, were they moving these explosives from one place to another? Were they investigating existing explosives already in the facility? And what were they doing?
All these questions are really good questions, and they're the questions that we have as well. The investigation is just about to get started on all this, and these are all the questions that we're going to want answers to, and we'll get them. But simply, right now, I wanted to get out here. I know all of you have been waiting for a while. I'm giving you the information I have, and we're not there yet. Thank you.
Can you say something in Spanish for us, please?
Let's wait for the English, and then we'll do the Spanish afterward, if that's okay.
Sure, are you able to say this? We heard that someone was injured as well and taken to the hospital. Are you able to say the status of that person?
Earlier, we had 3 fatalities of our employees, which I call heroes. Are very heroic in the work that they do. We had no other injuries other than the 3 fatalities. And just so all of you know, the members of this team, I've heard over and over the word elite being used. I think sometimes that term gets overused. But if you're familiar with our Special Enforcement Bureau, they're the best of the best. And the individuals who work our arson explosives detail, they have years of training. And these members, usually the average calls that they go to in dealing with some very dangerous situations or items average about 1,100 per year. So these aren't people who don't do this very often. They are fantastic experts. And unfortunately, I lost 3 of them today.
Sheriff, regarding what happened here, why were the materials brought back to the scene? There's a possibility that they were unsafe. Normal protocol would be to take the roadside, run away down there, and go there and disappear. Why was it not done out there? Why was it tried to do this? The transport of the roadside to handle that?
Those are all questions, Pete, that we're going to get to. We need to go from A to Z to know exactly what happened. That's why we have our partners here from the Federal Bureau of Investigation that will be conducting the post-blast. There'll be a lot of details coming out there eventually. ATF is here to assist them, the National Response Team. These are individuals that have a lot of expertise in what they do. And again, all the questions being asked, very good questions. But if I waited to get the answers to those, I'd be here probably in 2 days. And I'm just trying to get out here in front of all of you. The question is, are we anticipating a procession for our three heroic deputies who passed away, and the answer to that is yes. There will be a procession. I don't have
gathering information, but perhaps because of the nature of what we're dealing with, the mobs or theft and everything. Let me tell us a little bit about the vehicle they were driving, or anything at all that you did, any kind of preliminary indication, because as you have said, you guys know whether it's preliminary medical care. This seems to be something completely out of the blue. Is there anything else?
I don't have the answers to those questions yet. And again, getting out here, trying to be out here at this time to inform all of you, our community, to know what we know at this time was very important. Again, all of you are amazing. You're asking very important questions, and we're going to get the answers, I think, to, if not everything, to most of them, but we just simply don't have that information at this time.
These things being transported manually or robotics used on this?
There is currently an investigation going on to determine what happened from the very beginning to the end. I know everybody wants answers. Please understand, we just rendered the scene safe. Within the last 30 minutes, the LAPD bomb squad rendered the scene safe. We have to go back, investigate what happened from the very beginning, and we'll get there. Just not going to happen this soon. I would be very irresponsible to try and answer a lot of these questions without the information that I need to positively give you facts, and I don't have the facts at this point.
Sheriff, we understand that you're telling us everything you can tell us, and we understand we got to wait. By when, roughly, you think you can have another press conference to tell us more information?
We'll, through our Sheriff's Information Bureau, we'll put something out
Alrighty, so
in
you
the
have
next
been
couple of
listening in
hours
there
of
to
when
a
we
press
will
conference that was
have
held a
that
little earlier in the morning there in Los Angeles, California, in the afternoon here in the Central Time Zone. We were on the air the moment that it all happened. You see Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Robert Luna, there delivering of the news. The information made there, 3 dead, and it was more of just kind of to get in front of the people, confirming the information that there was 3 dead, there was none injured, was out to the public here, then taking questions, trying to figure out when more information would be out. You've heard there Sheriff Luna saying that he believed that for him to answer some of the questions that the press was asking would be irresponsible on his side of things. Again, this press conference earlier today from Sheriff Robert Luna, this comes after at an LASD, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, at a training facility for the bomb squad and tactical units. An explosion ignited, leaving 3 of their deputies killed. We were taking a look at some other feeds that we had of a procession that was held earlier in the day. That feed there from KTTV, we were having some audio issues towards as we switched feeds some of the time there. But this was earlier also in Los Angeles. It was a funeral procession, not really I should say a procession to the coroner's office, though. To say the least, this extended for miles, and this procession that you're taking a look at there extended for miles, and it went on and went on and went on even further, to say the least. So it was really just a time when it was so somber. We saw officers with their hands saluting. Such a sad moment in this moment. He says it's been since 18, not sure the exact year there, but in sometime in the 1800s in the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department lost that many officers. We are going to sneak in a quick break, though, as you continue to take a look at that feed there. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump earlier today at the White House. Signing a crypto bill into law. What was in that crypto bill? And so much more. That's all coming up here in just a moment. You have been watching Brookland News Live. A look at Capitol Hill, Washington, and an I Drive Arkansas camera. Just something to give you a look at as we go to break. And welcome back into Brooklyn News Live. Trump signing a cryptocurrency bill into law earlier today. We'll talk about the details in just a moment here. A look at the White House this evening, 10:35 p.m. now, where earlier today Trump signed this bill into law. We were on the air for this all, actually switching feeds between the press conference and the moment this all happened. This was earlier there at the White House when President Donald Trump walked out. He talked on a number of other topics, shouting out those in this, I believe it was over 30 minutes of speech. So we are going to watch it in its entirety. As you see there, President Donald Trump taking the podium and speaking on this cryptocurrency bill before signing it into law. Let's crank the volume up here and listen in. This was earlier over at the White House.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom. Keep going. We worked hard. We worked hard. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, we worked hard. It's a very important act, the Genius Act. They named it after me, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you. This is a hell of an act. You know, I did something very unusual. I said, this has been something, it's been, a lot of people thought it was impossible, some of the things that have been done. And of course, the great big, I added the word great, the great big beautiful bill, that was something that nobody thought possible. They thought it would be in anywhere from 7 to maybe 3, I'll go the opposite direction, but 3 to 7 different bills. And we said, let's just put it in one, because this way there's something for everyone. And there really is. There's a lot of things for everyone. And when we get the word out how great that is for every single person in this country virtually, and all they have is a soundbite, death. You know what their soundbite is? Death. Aren't they nice, death? They are the most incompetent people. They've lost their confidence. They've lost everything, if you think about it. But Jasmine Crockett is on her way. She's on her way. She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble. But I have to tell you, that was great, and this was great. And I am so tired of making phone calls at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting calls from our great speaker. Sir, we have 12 hard no's. I say, Mike, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We have 12 hard no's. The good news is I call up, hello, Jim, how are you? Sir, you have my vote. Boom. Sir, you have my vote. They just want a little love. Unfortunately, it's always the same. It's always the same 12 people. That's it. It's 5 senators and it's 12 congressmen. And I actually said to John Thune and I said to Mike, I said, listen, I want to have a party, but not to those people that I have to speak to endlessly every time. And they're wonderful because they always seem to come through, other than a couple. Rand Paul Jr. from the Congress and Rand Paul from, other than a few people. But I said, I want to have them over. We're going to have a party for everybody in Congress, everyone in Congress except 12. We're going to have, and Mike is, Tom, I'll tell you what, Tom is definitely coming. The whole group, where are those 12 people? They're the only people I don't see. We could do it today. We don't have to vote. And I would say of the 53 senators, 48, we're going to have 48 in here. You won't even have to come to that one. But these are the greatest people because they always vote yes, and we don't have to go crazy. You trust us, we trust you. And it's been a very special group of people. We really do. I mean, 96% phenomenal and 4% extremely difficult. Do you agree with that? But they get there, most of them, not all of them. Those are the ones we really don't like. But I want to thank you all for being here. This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act. into law. So congratulations to everybody. This is a big deal. You've come a long way since the Biden administration, when they had no idea what you were all talking about, and half of you were under arrest for no reason whatsoever. True, for no reason. And we want to have it, not China. China wasn't actually happy. They were watching this. They like it, and we've got this. We've got AI. We've got a lot of great ones happening, and this is a very big thing. And I want to thank the bill's author, Senator Bill Haggerty, a very good friend of mine. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a very handsome guy. Looks great. He's got the whole package. But, you know, I got to know him. He was ambassador to Japan, and we had a little problem with Japan on trade. But he was my ambassador to Japan, and I went to Japan, and he is speaking fluently Japanese. I said, "Did you learn it as a child?" No, I just learned it over the last 4 or 5 months. I said, "You learned Japanese?" Maybe the single hardest language to learn. It's actually breathing rather than, it's breathing. I'm not going to imitate it because we'll end up with a big story, and I don't want that. But he spoke totally fluent Japanese. I said, "That's very impressive." And he was introducing me to Mr. Honda. I said, "Oh, are you in the car business?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "You're a very rich man." And then he said, "Mr. Toyota, right? Toyota." And I said, "What business are you in?" Let me guess. He said, "Cars." He was my interpreter, and I was so impressed. And I was getting ready to leave. He said, "Sir, I'd like to run for the United States Senate." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Tennessee." I said, "Well, I love Tennessee, but do they know you there?" "No, but if you endorse me, I'll win," right? And I endorsed him, and he took a 48-point lead. And they didn't know who the hell he was. And he's turned out to be a great senator. And now they all know who you are. Yeah, so you're fantastic, and we thank you. And just the fact that you're doing this and you understand this is a complicated world, and you understand it, Bill. So you've been great. Thank you very much. We're also pleased to be joined by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you very much. Good job. And he's been up speaking late at night on the phone. I said, "J.D., how about you taking 3 or 4 of these people, please? Because 3 or 4 I cannot speak to. I just can't." And he'd take them, and he'd come through. Right, J.D.? Also, Speaker Mike Johnson. He is unbelievable. He's an unbelievable... I mean, if you go by what we're doing, if you keep at this pace, you can't keep it up for another 200 days. But I will tell you this, if you keep up this pace for another week, you go down as the greatest speaker in the House in history. So one more week. One more week. Who needs Tip O'Neill? Who needs Tip O'Neill? He's better looking than Tip O'Neill, too. But no, he's been going at a fervent pace. Would you say that's right? Your wife probably says, "You are crazy. You've been aging beautifully at front." He's an amazing speaker, a great leader, and everybody likes him and respects him, and that's why we're with a very small majority, like 3. We had a time when we were 1. Remember? We said we're 1 heart attack away from losing the House. Then we won a couple of seats and a couple of other. Now we have 7, maybe if we're lucky, 7. But we win with, nobody's ever done, I don't think anyone's ever done this before, to win with those small. We had a little help from Tom, too, right, and a lot of other people. I want to introduce also Secretary Howard Lutnick, who's been fantastic. You have done a great job, Howard. We've got trade deals coming out of our ears, right? We had so many trade deals. They're all calling so many, and I really mean this, too. It's like, how do you deal with so many? But, I always say when we send out the paper, that was a deal. They don't want the fake news doesn't want to hear that. When I send out the paper that you're paying 35 or 40% tariff, that's a deal. Then they'll call and see if they can make a little bit different kind of a deal, like opening up their country to trade. In some cases, they've never been opened. But we're doing well, and we have a couple of big ones to announce pretty soon, right? Could almost do it today. Maybe we'll say it. Maybe later on we'll do it. Senator Bernie Marino, a great victory. Bernie had great victory. A great victory. That was one of the truly tough races. A lot of people weren't sure anybody could win that seat, and you won it in easy fashion, right? We won it together when you think of it. But you won it in easy fashion. You did a great job. Great guy. House Majority Whip. This is a great leader, Tom Emmer, a great politician and leader. Really good. And I like his wife even better. His wife is, she's the boss, but you are married to a fantastic woman, huh? And he knows that, and he likes hearing it, because some people don't, you know. They say, sir, could you please stop saying that my wife is better than me, sir? Those are guys that don't usually end up with a good marriage, you know. He's got a great marriage. So thank you, Tom. You really are a fantastic leader and representative. And Representatives Troy Downing, French Hill. Where's French Hill? Where is French? You have been so great. Thank you, French. I spoke to him a little late. He was walking down the hall. I said, French. He said, I'm there, sir. You are great, great, great guy. Everyone respects you, French. You know that. Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good job. Dan Muser. I thought he was going to become the next governor of Pennsylvania, but he likes Congress better, I guess, huh? So, but I think you're terrific, and, you know, I would have always been behind you. That I can tell you. Tim Moore. Tim, thank you, Tim. John Rose. John? Hi, John. Thanks. Good job. Brian Stile. Brian Stile. Still young. Still nice and young. That's good. G.T. Thompson. G.T. Thank you. Andy Barr, good friend of all of ours. Thank you, Andy. Monica De La Cruz. Monica, she's here someplace. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica. Mike Haradopoulos. Mike. Thank you, Mike. Look good. Mike Lawler, Mr. Salt. Well, it should guarantee your district. I mean, you worked hard for New York, right? And you're on television, I'm on television, so this should be good for a couple of points. But without you and your couple of friends from New York, that wouldn't have happened. That was not easy, right? Congratulations. Great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Anna, who is so great. I don't, even if she's here or not here, I want to tell you that she has been so great and worked so hard to make sure we got it approved. Ralph Norman. Ralph? Ralph? What happened to Ralph? Nick Begich. Nick, thank you, Nick. Good job. Good job. Good votes. I just saw a great poll on you, huh? Very good. Congratulations, Nick. Andy Ogles. Andy, who's a terrific friend. Beth Van Dyne. Beth, thank you, Beth. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much for the great support. Roger Williams, a great baseball player, who also had to take a bullet, unfortunately, but he is a great guy. He was involved in that whole catastrophe, but he's fantastic and has been from day one, along with a lot of other people that I won't call out because I have no idea where the hell you are. I think I saw Jason here somewhere. Where's Jason? Oh, it's lucky I called him. Ooh, it's lucky. They didn't put your name because I invited you at the last moment, right? He was over there doing some business in the White House. But you've been incredible in your position. Nobody knows more about taxes and finance than you do, so we appreciate it, right? Is that true, Howard? It's true. Thanks, Jason. Great job. And you'll help out with that other matter. You make him so strong and powerful, right? Along with Deputy Secretary of Treasury, Michael Faulkender. Where's Michael? Good, Michael. How are you? Good. You'll help out over there, okay? And Ambassador Ken Howry. Ambassador? Thank you, Ken. Great job, Ken. I also want to recognize some of the countless industry leaders here today, including Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. You've done a good job, Brian. That's a big deal. Dave Ripley of Kraken. Dave. Thank you, Dave. Jeremy Allaire of Circle. This is a big day. Good job. Good job, Jeremy. Paolo Ardino of Tether. Paolo, thank you, Paolo. Ryan McInerney of Visa. That's a good company. Thank you. Chris Pavlovsky of Rumble. Chris, what happened to your location, Chris? You're always a front row guy. You're just being nice today, I think. Huh? How's Rumble doing? Good? Good. If Rumble's doing good, that means Truth is doing good. Truth. That's good. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Chris, very much. Vlad.
Alrighty, I don't necessarily like to cut into conversations in the middle of it, but I am going to do it with this one because we have another live feed that we do want to go to right now in Tokyo, Japan. You are looking there as Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent is speaking live. Let's listen in here for just a moment. He's meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Shiguru. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not. He is leading a presidential delegation to Japan and will also be attending the U.S. National Day at the World Expo. Oh, and he's actually just finished speaking, it appears. Okay. What we are going to do, let's sneak in a quick break. And we will play this from, we will finish what we were watching here at the White House. We will play this from moments ago over in Tokyo, Japan. I'm sorry we had just missed it. We were going to listen to it, but we've just missed it. We're going to take a quick break, though. Be right back with more coverage. Alrighty, welcome back into Brookland News Live. Sorry about that audio issue there. You're still looking live? I'm sorry, not live, but rather at the White House there. Trump signing a bill into law. We are going to, we began to play it out. We're going to finish playing this recording out before we go over to Tokyo, Japan, where a presidential expo is occurring, and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary in the U.S., had just finished speaking. We'll listen into that in just a moment as soon as President Donald Trump signs this bill into law. Let's go back live. I keep saying live, I'm sorry. Let's go back to listening into this over at the White House.
You guys have been great. Thank you very much. Great to be with you. Let me say the entire crypto community, for years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as a year and a half ago. But this signing is a massive validation, and even before this signing, over the last year and a half, I think your stuff has gone up more than any stock, or just about more. A couple of stocks that were pretty good, I will say, but you have certainly, as an industry, gone up more than anybody. Nobody's gained the respect in such a short period of time. But this signing is a massive validation of your hard work and your pioneering spirit and your ability to never give up, because a lot of people would have given up 2-3 years ago. So I want to thank you for contributing to the incredible strength of America. This is going to make it stronger, and congratulations on this incredible achievement. You've made our dollar look really good and strong and powerful. It's good for the dollar, and it's good for the country. And that's why I backed you at an early stage, and I also did it for the votes, because you did come out and vote, I will tell you. And they changed tune, Biden's team, they changed tune right in the middle of the campaign. All of a sudden, they loved you guys. They dropped all charges. They did have, I got you guys out of so much trouble. And you know what? I don't think anybody voted for them, right? Because you remember, they treated you very unfairly, actually. So it's a great honor that we were involved. And it was a tremendous amount of support that we got at the polls. We won. Think of it, we won every swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won the popular vote. We won the districts by 2,750. Think of that, to 505. Different districts, too, by the way. Every once in a while, that number can change, but it doesn't change by much. The map was almost totally red, and you guys were with us right from the beginning. Exactly 1 year ago this month, many of you were with me in Nashville, Tennessee. Do you remember that day, right? That was a big day, Nashville, Tennessee, when I became the first presidential candidate ever to address the Bitcoin conference. And at that time, crypto builders and founders were under relentless assault by the Biden administration, which was trying to crush your industry and crush you as people and go after your families. And they were a vicious group of people. People don't realize it. They were vicious, incompetent, but vicious. Well, Joe was an incompetent guy, but he was always known as a vicious guy. I guess if you're going to be in that, you're probably off. If they're incompetent is better, right? Because you don't want to have a vicious guy that's competent. If you did, I wouldn't be standing here today, right? But I pledged that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. And under the Trump administration, this is only going further. You're going to do really well. I mean, I'm so proud of what you've done in the last couple of years. And very important, on day one, I remember I did this and I said this and I mentioned this name, and I got the greatest applause of the whole campaign. We fired Joe Biden's SEC chair, Gary Gensler. We fired him. But I remember I was making a speech, and it was just a line in a speech. And I said, and I will fire Gary Gensler. The place exploded. I finished like one, and I said, what the hell did that guy do? There was a lot of hatred there, I'll tell you. And it turned out, as I got familiar with everything, it turned out you were absolutely right. In his place, I appointed a visionary chairman who wants America to build the future and not block the future. He's going to be unbelievable. He'll go down as one of the greats. And Paul Atkins, where are you, Paul Atkins? And Paul, the crypto guys, they said, everybody said, not only crypto, every industry, they all wanted Paul for the position. And he's a tough cookie, too. But they actually said, we don't care. We just think he's fair. All they wanted was fairness. And they have somebody that you're really a champion of the street and you're a champion of the country. You're going to do a fantastic job. I saw you interviewed the other night. I watched it about 2 o'clock in the morning. There was a little thing called C-SPAN, which I don't know how many people were watching. Don't worry, you were on primetime, too, but they happened to have a little rerun. I don't want to embarrass you. But fantastic job, really. You are absolutely so perfect for the job. Congratulations, Paul. And Paul is here today among the commissioners, various commissioners, including Hester Pierce and Mark Yoida. Hester and Mark Yoida. Thank you, Hester. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mark, wherever you may be. Is Mark here? Oh, stand up, Mark. I didn't... Good. Thank you. Good job. Good. I'm glad I gave you a second crack you didn't hear because of the thunderous applause for Hester. But thank you. I heard tremendous things about both of you. Thank you very much. My first week in office, I also established the first ever presidential working group on digital assets, and we have an executive director. Where's Bo Hines? Bo Hines. Hi, Bo. And Bo was a great football player, right? Bo was a great football player, one of the better players in college football. So I know you from that also. See, who would think that I know that? I know a lot of things, Bo. But he was a champion player. I stopped the weaponization of government against crypto and Bitcoin, and we ended the lawless operation Choke Point 2.0. That was a bad operation. And I kept my promises to the community and granted a full presidential pardon to Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht. And you have no idea how important that name became. It was like a symbol, and his mother was unbelievable. His mother was an unbelievable woman, but it was so important to a certain group of people. And in the truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile. And that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes. I think it's great that you're involved, I will tell you. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after I really met you for the first time? The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one-for-one with real U.S. dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And, you know, you have this little group called BRICS. It's fading out fast. But BRICS is, they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar, and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%. And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up. They said, leave me alone. We didn't want to. They didn't want to be tariffed, did they, Howard? Huh? So it's amazing. No, we're not going to let the dollar slide. If we have a smart president, you're never going to let the dollar slide. If you have a dummy, that could happen. Like the last one, he would. If you ever asked him about the dollar sliding, he would have no idea. But we can't let that ever happen again. Consumers, vendors, and people all over the world will then be able to use those stable coins for ultra-low-cost transactions that are cleared and settled in a matter of seconds rather than weeks and months. And it's really an amazing thing. And with the privacy, flexibility, and decentralization of cash, this revolution has the potential to supercharge American economic growth and empower billions of people to save and transfer in U.S. dollars. It's really all backed by the dollars. It's really a great thing. And a lot of, you know, we had a lot of Democrat support. I have to tell you that. I was shocked anytime you get one but we had a tremendous amount of Democrat support, which we appreciate, and which just shows you that you're doing the right thing. This will increase demand for U.S. Treasuries, lower interest rates, and secure the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency for generations to come. The reserve currency is so important. You know, if we lost that, that would be like losing a world war. We can never let anyone play games with us, and that's why when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly, I will tell you, for them. They won't be gone very long. I don't think they'll even do it. They're virtually afraid to meet. I also remain fully committed to my pledge never to allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in America. It won't happen. My first. Thank you. And the other night, I will say, with some of the congressmen and women, they wanted that so badly. That was so important to them. I was impressed that they knew what the hell it was, to be honest with you. Please, sir, please, the central bank digital currency, well, you have to make sure, sir. And I'm saying, what do you know about that? It's amazing the knowledge that people have gained all of a sudden. We had a lot of problems with some of them. I said, we've already got it from the Fed, right, from Commerce, and from an executive order. You don't need it a fourth time. Sir, we have to get it. It's amazing. But they knew their subject, though, didn't they, huh? And we helped them out. My first week in office, I signed an executive order to ban the creation of a CBDC in the United States, and very soon I look forward to signing legislation that will codify and ban make it a permanent law, put it in permanence. I'm also committed to signing landmark crypto market structure legislation this year to grow the industry. We're going to be growing it even more than people ever thought. It's a really hot industry. And for a little while, 2 nights ago, we were a little concerned because we were a little short on votes. Like, I would say maybe we were about 9 short. 9 short at 3 in the morning. We were about 4 short at 3:30 in the morning. And we were in good shape at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? But the people, and few people have fought harder for the bill than we're signing than some of the people here today. You have been unbelievable. It's our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who has done such a great job. And he has a show now. I've become a showman, but a couple of years ago, right? It's probably 2 years ago now in San Francisco, and I did his show. And I heard he's a very smart guy, and we had a great show. You've kept it going a lot longer, and is that still your highest rated ever show? Oh, he knows what to say. He knows what. He had a rating that he had millions and millions of people. He said, what's going on? But we had a great show. And I said, that guy's really smart. I said, if I get elected, I was running at that time, if I get elected, we're going to bring him into government in some ways. He's worth a fortune. He's made a lot of money. He's a very rich billionaire, but this is more important, isn't it? This is, me too, it's like, doesn't matter. This is much, I know Howard and I talk about it all the time. Howard could go back to his wonderful brokerage firm, hire 1 or 2 people, and it's not the same as what you're doing, right? We're doing the biggest deals in the world. Actually, the deal we're doing now in tariffs is the biggest, when you add it up, the biggest deal ever made in history. It could be 1,000 IBMs. I mean, if you think of it, it's the biggest deal ever done. So it's hard to go back to a brokerage firm and, make $79,000 commission on the sale of a sock, right? It's true. But I want to ask David. So David's been fantastic. He's done an incredible job. And I'd like to ask David to come up, say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, President Trump. It's a great honor to be here, and it's true that I'd never expected to work in government at all, and then everything changed after President Trump came on my podcast, and I accepted this job as crypto czar because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people, and if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done? It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley, the speed at which you move, President Trump. It's really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. Treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, is U.S. dollar dominance. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. And there's just a few other people I'd like to thank. First, my family for being here. Thank you. And Bo Hines, who President Trump mentions, the director of our crypto council, he really did the heavy lifting here. So Bo, I just want to thank you again. And my chief of staff, Tracy Johnson, as well, who also does the heavy lifting. And Bill Haggerty and French Hill and all the congressmen and senators who have already been mentioned by President Trump, so I'll save the time, but it was really been an honor to work with all of you. This was really a team effort, but most of all, I want to thank President Trump for accomplishing what nobody thought was possible, and it's true that just earlier this week, the media was reporting that this bill was dead. This bill was dead, and then the media didn't know one thing, that we had a secret weapon. We have a deal maker in chief. And thanks to President Trump, he stepped in and saved this bill. And it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump. Thank you.
Is that Laura? Please come. Just come here. This is our superstar. She was the head of the Republican Party, and nobody complained about anything. We went on to great. This is Laura Trump, married to a young gentleman named Eric. They have beautiful 2 children, but she has been so good. She stepped into that position like it was nothing that we won, and she said, Dad, I'd like to go home right now to my beautiful husband and my son and daughter, Red, but you did a fantastic job, and you worked with a great gentleman, too. He's doing a fantastic job. But I just want to thank you. I just saw you standing back there. I wanted to bring her in. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you. So under the Trump administration, I mean, I just got back from Saudi Arabia, and we went to Qatar. We went to a number of countries, and I will tell you the level of respect that this country has now is incredible. The UAE, I tell you what, we had a time there, but every leader said the same thing. They said 1 year ago, your country was dead. And they'd say it that way. It was like, you know, I didn't know whether I was supposed to be happy or insulted, but the truth is we were in deep trouble. But they said 1 year ago, your country was dead, and today you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it's true. We have the hottest country in the world. We had a country, we were a laughingstock with the borders, people pouring in. Can you imagine last month, in the month of June, actually, 0. Now, I don't even believe that, 0, because you have hundreds of thousands pouring in, and then all of a sudden it's 0. But they have it down as 0. And very liberal people take that particular toll. It's a liberal group, so they're not giving us any favors. It's 0 people coming through our border. Can you imagine that? From literally hundreds of thousands and millions pouring in from all over the world. They came from all over the world. They came from prisons, jails. They came from mental institutions, gang members. There were gangs. They came from all over the place, from every country. They came from the Congo in Africa, a lot from the Congo. They came from South America. A lot came from Venezuela. They emptied their jails into our country. Can you imagine? They allowed that, emptied their jails into our country, and they let them walk right into our country like perfect. 11,888 committed murder. 50% committed more than one person. They murdered more than one person. 50% of 11,888. And we had murderers, and we're getting them out, and Tom Homan and Christie are doing a great job. That Tom Homan, I'll tell you, is he central casting or what? And he takes abuse, but they just keep fighting, and they're winning, and we're winning in the courts, and we're winning everywhere. But we've got the hottest country in the world, and you're a big part of it. So the golden age of America is upon us, and with today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together, because they really are hand in hand. is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to thank everybody, some tremendous people in this room. And maybe when I sign, I'll ask some of our great senators and congressmen to come on up. Some of the top crypto guys, please come on up, because you guys worked very hard on this. And we'll sign this, and we'll get on to the next battle, and we'll win. But we're winning all over the world right now. It's not even close, not even close, and we're going to keep it going. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
Okay, so you have been watching President Donald Trump there at an event, now about to sign this bill into law. This is the cryptocurrency, the Genius Act. You can hear the pen against the paper. Okay, so we do have some other events that we want to go to as we continue our coverage throughout the night, but first, you heard Trump talk about all of the good things in this bill. So, 12 Republicans actually voted against the Genius Act, and that is something that Trump did mention, saying, kind of indicating the Republicans don't always get along and they lose elections, that he doesn't like them. Those against raised questions on its central bank digital currency provision and self-custody of digital assets. Two kind of big Republicans that voted against that were Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican in Georgia, and Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona. So two big Republicans there voting against this bill. We do have some more news that we are following this hour, and we are going to get to that. That includes this event over in Tokyo, Japan. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent speaking at this event there. This comes after earlier during this moment he says that the trade deal is, quote, within realm of possibility between both U.S. and Japan. This is just moments ago there. You see Bessent walking up to the podium there soon to speak at this forum. Let's go ahead and listen in here.
Because the moon rock reminds me, when I was 7 years old, my father woke me up one morning to tell me that the United States had landed on the moon in 1969. I was 7 years old, and it is very inspirational to see that the rocks brought back from that are still exciting people all over the world today. And it shows what we can do when we work together, the partnership of the United States and Japan in technology and friendship. Good afternoon. It is my distinct honor to represent President Trump and the United States of America here today. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate this great nation on convening such a successful gathering. The United States is proud to contribute to Expo Osaka's success and our pavilion showcasing American excellence, ingenuity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Having traveled to Japan frequently throughout my career, I'm pleased to return now as a member of the President's delegation and the 79th Secretary of the Treasury. The U.S.-Japan alliance, celebrating its 65th year, is a cornerstone of peace, stability, and indeed prosperity. This makes it all the more appropriate that Japan is hosting this year's World Expo. Indeed, Japan is America's most important ally in the Indo-Pacific region. Our relationship centers on shared values, shared interest, and a shared determination to advance regional security and economic growth. At this critical moment in history, President Trump is continuing to strengthen this important alliance to unleash mutual prosperity that benefits the American and the Japanese people. Together, we are unleashing long-term economic growth. Together, we are securing the lasting vibrance of our capital markets. Together, we are driving innovation that moves industry forward. And together, we are collaborating and breaking new ground across nearly every sector and nearly every field. President Trump has created an economy that the world wants to be part of. We are attracting record levels of foreign investment, and Japan remains the largest investor into our economy, just as we are the largest investor into Japan's economy. We look forward to continuing to boost these levels and propel our nations even further. And while our economic ties are significant, the alliance we share runs much deeper and continues to expand over time. Our alliance is anchored by strong people-to-people connections, which have drawn our two nations ever closer each generation. It is our people who bind and fortify this great alliance. Shared values between our nations facilitate cooperation in the Quad, G7, trilateral engagements with South Korea and the Philippines, and much more. The USA Pavilion reflects the deep alignment working closely within the U.S. government. The USA Pavilion is expanding USA exports, attracting high-quality foreign investment, and building the commercial infrastructure for our country's future. It is my hope that all visitors leave the USA Pavilion inspired by stories of spaceflight and innovation, by our openness and by the breadth of opportunities our great nation has to offer. As the United States approaches our 250th anniversary, President Trump is delivering a new golden age for America. And here in Japan, as nations convene for the 2025 World Expo, our two nations stand side by side as we look ahead to an even brighter shared future for all people. The United States exhibition here is an introduction. We invite everyone who visits to join us for the incredible 250th birthday celebration of the United States that President Trump is planning. Enjoy today, and the best is yet to come. Thank you all.
ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Alrighty, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent there speaking at an event there in Tokyo, Japan, where he is leading a presidential I'll read people. Okay, so we'll follow that event there as he says that a trade deal is within the realm of possibility between the two. A live look over at the White House. So many events we're following this hour. We are going to continue to play you guys stories. We've got more to talk about because when we come back, we are breaking down these event where Secretary Kristi Noem, she spoke a little earlier in the day on criminal immigrants. She addresses that. We will watch that when we come back. Again, that's the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem addressing criminal immigrants. That is all when we come back. We are going to be right back. You're watching Brookland News Live. live look at Capitol Hill there this evening. We are following multiple stories this hour, including one out of Nashville, Tennessee, where Department of Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem, she held an event there, really just a little bit of a press conference. I believe she takes questions earlier this evening to highlight and describe the exposure of the quote worst of the worst criminal illegal immigrants. There's that video there. Let's go live again. This is earlier from Nashville, Tennessee.
My name is Kristi Noem. I'm the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. We're here in Nashville today to highlight some of the excellent work that the Department of Homeland Security has been doing with HSI and ICE officers and agents here in this area. This office oversees not just operations within Nashville, but also throughout Tennessee and Kentucky, and they also are a key component to our investigative efforts that we put into the breaking up of drug and human trafficking rings. I'm so proud of this office and the agents that work here and in this area for what they do to protect children every day and what they do to protect United States citizens and get criminals off of our streets. President Trump has been focused ever since he's been in office on making America safe again. And that is what my job is as a secretary, is to make sure that we're following through on exactly what he promised the American people, to make sure that we're going after the worst of the worst every single day, get the murderers, the rapists, the child pedophiles and pornographers off of our streets and out of this country so that they can be brought to justice and face the consequences for their actions. Since President Trump has taken office, we have arrested almost 300,000 and more criminals and illegal aliens here in the United States of America and brought them to justice and deported them out of our country. 70% of those individuals have criminal charges that they are convicted of, or they have criminal charges that are pending against them. Overwhelmingly, the families that live in this country are thrilled to have these people off of their streets so that they can continue to raise their children in a country where they can live safely, send their kids to school, and go to sleep peacefully in their beds at night each and every day. Here in Tennessee, HSI Nashville has arrested some individuals that I want to highlight specifically that are tied to foreign terrorist organizations as designated by President Trump's administration, and also tied to gang organizations that are not only present here in this country, but also internationally as well. 2 Venezuelan nationals with ties to Tren de Aragua have been arrested here. This was done back in January, and their crimes include promoting prostitution and evading arrest. In February, HSI Nashville arrested a 35-year-old Venezuelan charged with homicide after he stabbed his own wife to death. HSI also arrested a 33-year-old illegal alien that was from El Salvador. This individual was affiliated with the MS-13 gang, and he's the subject of a red notice that we participate with Interpol, and is wanted in El Salvador as well for aggravated murder. In January, HSI Nashville here arrested a 22-year-old Guatemalan who was an illegal alien here in this country. The charges against this individual count 3 charges of child rape, sexual exploitation of a minor, and identity theft. Also arrested here is a 60-year-old illegal alien from Iraq. His criminal history includes convictions of rape, larceny, and false imprisonment. And last but not least, that I'll highlight here individually today, is we all remember the story of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the MS-13 member. He was a human trafficker, a domestic abuser, a criminal illegal alien, and a national of El Salvador, and a member of MS-13. The mainstream media consistently tries to defend this individual as an innocent Maryland man, but I will be very clear, this man has a history and decades-long ties to a gang that has been convicted of human trafficking, and he himself has been deeply tied to those horrific charges and criminal activities. He's here in Nashville currently on federal charges for human trafficking, and the grand jury's indictment describes a monster. Abrego was a full-time human trafficker who would brutally abuse women under his control and even solicited individuals for child pornography. Now, all of these criminals are evil. They're horrible human beings. They're the worst of the worst. And America is safer because they're off of our streets, because of the work of the individuals behind me, but all of the agents and officials within HSI and ICE. Rioters, criminal thugs, legacy media, open border politicians, often you'll hear them standing up and defending the evil criminals that I've been talking about. And in the meantime, what they're doing is smearing and doxing our agents and putting them and their families at risk. Leftists have doxed, attacked, and tried to intimidate the men and women who uphold our laws and keep our streets safe. And now our ICE officers are facing an 830% increase in violence against them and their families. One of the open border politicians is right here in this state and is right here in this city. And I'm specifically calling out the mayor of Nashville. Mayor Freddie O'Connell has gone after our ICE individuals and agents that work with HSI. He's openly doxed them, revealed their information to the public, encouraged people to work against them and their efforts to clean up the streets of Nashville, and he has forced his city officials, his employees of the city of Nashville, to document every single interaction that they have with federal immigration authorities. What the mayor is doing to the city is shameful, and what he needs to do is participate with us and make sure that he's helping us uphold the rule of law. Listen, if people don't like the laws in this country, go to Congress and change them. But what these agents do every single day is to uphold the law and make sure that it applies equally to everyone, and that criminals aren't placed above the American citizens that live in this city and live in this state and in this country. O'Connell and his administration are playing politics, and they're playing politics to a dangerous level that's risking people's lives. Despite the mayor's reckless behavior, we're going to continue to enforce the law here in Nashville. We're going to continue to fight to keep families safe, and here in this city, but also in this state, and continue throughout the country. Bringing violent criminals to justice is our priority, and doing so in order to make America safe again is what we will work to do every single day. We're also seeing similar acts of injustices happen in Nashville by other entities as well. We're seeing obstruction against federal immigration law by Belmont University. As you know, they have openly said that they will house illegal immigrants on their campus and do that in defiance of the federal government. President Trump campaigned on immigration enforcement. The American people voted for immigration enforcement. They voted to clean up their streets and get these criminals out of our country. I'm very proud of the fact that since President Trump has been in office, we have removed over 600 known and suspected terrorists out of the United States of America, that we have brought thousands of gang members from MS-13, TDA, and brought them to justice and deported them out of our country. We're continuing to go after these criminals to protect American citizens. And now that the President's big, beautiful bill is passed, we have the resources to double down. We will bring more agents to Nashville. We will bring more resources to this state. And we will make sure that even though politicians continue to play politics and try to lie about what the work is that we're doing to make America safe again, that we will continue to fight for the families that live here and make sure that these child pedophiles, these rapists, and these murderers are off our streets. We will never apologize for protecting the American people. President Trump is working hard every day to make sure that this is a country where the rule of law is applied equally to everybody, that illegal criminals are not placed above or prioritized above the American citizens that live here and work and are just pursuing the American dream. So with that, I will close and open it up to any questions that you may have. Yes, way in the back.
So you said that there's an 830% increase in these attacks against ICE agents.
Yes.
You've seen a lot of rhetoric, heated rhetoric. One congressman saying that people need to be willing to bleed in their opposition to ICE. Who do you blame for this massive rise of violence against ICE agents?
I would say it's the rhetoric of elected officials, of leaders, leftist organizations, and the media. When they don't tell the truth, there's consequences for that. When they don't talk about the facts of what's happening out on our streets and what the American people need, then it gets distorted and the information is used in a way that can undermine what the rule of law is. I would encourage every single media entity that's here today to go talk to an ICE agent about what their job is, what they've been told their priorities are, and what it's like for their family every single day to go out in the streets and try to go after these criminals. The Trump administration has specifically targeted the worst of the worst. The individuals that we are going after are those that are violent criminals, those that are breaking our laws, and those that have final removal orders. And in many of these places, we've negotiated for their safe return back to their own home country. And if they're criminals, they will face consequences for their crimes. I'm grateful for the fact that we have a president that stands up for the everyday American, and I would be thrilled if people would talk about the fact that when you get a rapist off the street, how many families have we protected? When you get a murderer off the street, a pedophile off the street, look at the families that will never have to be victims because that work was done. Too much time is spent focusing on these criminals when you should be focusing on the people who have been victims in the past and the fact that we're stopping future people from becoming victims as well. Yes.
But you know, when you speak of the worst of the worst, the Trump administration is going after. You see these four individuals who 70% of them you say that ICE is picking up have criminal convictions and charges. Why not release their names into rap sheets and investigate?
Well, many times the investigations are still ongoing, or they have lawyers where there's appeals going on, and so we follow the rule of law and give everybody their due process rights, but make sure that we're pursuing these criminal cases so that these individuals can face consequences for their crimes. This office here specifically is one of the most outstanding offices that we have in this nation for going after child exploitation rings and child trafficking and human trafficking. So I'm so thankful for their investigative work. They're breaking up trafficking rings that have been filtering internationally and have been using Nashville as a hub. I would encourage the mayor here to partner with them instead of fighting them, because by his rhetoric and by what he is requiring his city employees to do and by not having the backs of these law enforcement officers, he's allowing more children to be trafficked, more children to be victimized, and more families to suffer because of his actions and his politics.
But for those who are convicted and even be deported, why not release their names into rap sheets?
Oftentimes they are. Oftentimes they are. And also we have security agreements that we have negotiated with foreign countries as well, their home countries. I've been to probably 10 different foreign countries that most of these illegal criminals have come from, met with their presidents, met with their leaders, and negotiated them sharing information with us. Extradition agreements. We want the data on who they know is in our country that's dangerous, and then also when we return someone back to their country that is a criminal, that is a murderer.
Alrighty, you have been listening into Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem there answered questions from the press after she spoke on illegal immigrants. We want to go live over to an event happening in Santa Barbara County, California. There we go. This feed from NASA space flight. You see there a live look at multiple different feeds. Where we are at this point in time. Okay. I was told that there was going to be a launch in California, but it appears that this might be in Texas, as they are having a central time up there. So my apologies if I mislocated this. It said it was going to be at a certain base. Maybe we're watching something different here than what we were.
There was an interview where they were asking about
Expected to watch. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm not sure what is going on there, but let's just continue on with kind of regular programming here, because we were I was gonna note that this was ongoing and then go back over to Kristi Noem. So let's do that. Not sure what that was there. My apologies. I'm gonna get that fixed. Whatever the issue there is, if we're watching two different space launches that are expected to happen at the same time, and we will go back over to Kristi Noem, who is speaking. Give me 1 second. Who was speaking just a few moments ago, answering questions from the press. We had about 15 minutes left in this. So let's go back out there. This is Kristi Noem over in Nashville, Tennessee, earlier this afternoon.
Facing consequences in their home country as well. And I would encourage everybody, there's a lot of things being said in the media. If there is someone that's in this country illegally and they're concerned about being here and interacting with our immigration officials, go home. You have the opportunity today to go back to your home country. If you go home, we will buy you a plane ticket. We will, when you land, give you $1,000 so that you can get started on your feet and provide food and housing for your family. And you have the opportunity to come back to the United States the right way. You have the opportunity to come here and to pursue the American dream. But if you wait until you get detained by our officers and get encountered or are surrounded by individuals who are breaking the law and get deported, you will never get the chance to come back to the United States of America. And many of the times when I've traveled to these other countries and visited with their presidents and their governments, they have established now programs to help support their citizens that are coming back to their countries. Many of these countries are setting up loan programs for houses when people come back, training for jobs that they need to have filled in their countries. They're giving children scholarships that are coming home so they can get an education and get their feet under them. So when you look at Guatemala, Honduras, Colombia, Panama, many of these countries, Mexico that I've visited, many of them are setting up programs so that when people do come home, that they have the opportunity to have a job and an education that they've never had before. And I'm proud of that work that's being done so that when individuals do things the right way, they can be rewarded for that. Yes.
Madam Secretary, Tennessee has a lot of farmers that may rely on migrant workers to be able to yield their crops. So what's your message to them on what they should do?
You know, what I would tell them is we've got visa programs that they can participate in to help them with their workforce issues. The H-2A visa program is under my purview, and I don't have a limit on how many of those I can issue. I would encourage them to reach out.
Alrighty, there, a live look at the White House as you've been listening in to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem answer questions from press there after speaking in Nashville on illegal immigrants. We've got much more news coming up right here on Brookland News Live on this PM edition. Lots to come here, but we do, unfortunately, have to sneak in a quick break here. We got much more coverage coming up on the other side of this and more. You're watching Brookland News Live. And welcome back on this night edition of Brookland News Live as we continue our coverage of a number of different events. Moments ago, you were watching in as Secretary Kristi Noem spoke on their illegal immigrants. Sorry about that. We are now going to go live, rather, I keep saying always live. We will go live right now, though, over to the White House, where earlier this evening, President Donald Trump spoke to GOP senators. We've got that feed just in. Let's take a look and listen in here.
Really take a little bit of a successful bow and productive. The production that we had over the last 6 months was spectacular. I don't think anybody's done more. That's all of you together. And there's never been anything like it in terms of Republican Senate majorities in all of American history. You know that. We went back very carefully and we checked. And nobody's done so much so fast, and probably you could say with so few votes. I mean, we had 53, which is not bad, but that's not easy, is it? So let me begin by congratulating all of you. It's a truly amazing group of my friends, and we have a few of our friends that were in their districts and states, and I said, don't come back, just relax. But we wanted to do this. The Senate GOP confirmed our cabinet with record speed. It was actually record speed. And now we'll go a little bit faster because maybe one of these weeks you just hold them all back. We'll get everybody in, right, John? But we really did. We have a lot of great people, a lot of really fantastic people, and they're doing a tremendous job. You stayed in session for a marathon, 10 consecutive weeks, and that's the longest of any Senate in 15 years, and you held over 400 votes, more than any Senate in 35 years, and they were successful votes. And just a few weeks ago, we had the biggest victory of them all when you passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, and I just signed it into law, and I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill, but I got overridden by a couple of my people. They said, let's call it the One Big, but it is really the Great Big. And we delivered the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, the most deregulation in American history, and the largest border security investment in American history, and the biggest success on the border in American history. As you know, last month we went from millions of people coming in. We had 0 illegals coming into our country, and we're trying to get our country straightened out, and you can't do that if they're going to come in by the tens of thousands. We had 0. Now, I'm not even sure I can believe 0, but it was a very liberal group, as you know, that keeps that tabulation, and they gave us a 0, so I think we'll take it, but it certainly wasn't very many. And the One Big Beautiful Bill delivered on more Republican promises than any single piece of legislation that's ever been voted on before. And I want to thank Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Again, John, what you did is amazing, record-setting, and you're a good man, too. You're a very good man. You really is. Majority Whip John Barrasso. John, thank you. What a man. What a guy. We got along from day one, right? He knew more about the medical stuff, and I said, what do you think about this, that? You did a fantastic job, and for a long time, Republican Policy Committee Chair, Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shelley. Senate Finance Committee Chairman, Mike Crapo. Mike, good job. You know your stuff. I was asking him some very tough questions on taxes. You always had the answer, some of which I didn't like, but that was okay. But you always had it. You know your business. Thank you, Mike. Great job. Senate Budget Committee Chairman, a gentleman named Lindsey Graham, just took about a big lead in the polls. You're leading big. That's pretty good. Lindsey Graham. And all of you, I mean, just everyone in this room is special. You're all friends, and you've just been incredible people. Because again, getting all of these votes with, well, you can't lose 2. We had a couple, you can't lose 2. And we actually had it where we were down much closer than this. And we said, we're a heart attack away from losing the Senate. We were just hoping everybody's going to stay good and healthy, right, John? But we had some pretty close moments. But I don't think anybody's ever come close to doing this with a pretty tight majority, to put it nicely. So now we have 3. And I think we have a chance in the midterms. I don't understand why they say that when you win the presidency, you always almost automatically lose the midterms, because nobody's had a more successful period of time than we have. So based on that, we should do great. And we'll see, but nobody's done more than we have as a group. It's not me, it's all of us together. And I'd like to thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here someplace. Thank you. And he's been so terrific, JD, and we appreciate it. And you helped us a lot during those late evenings over the last 3 nights, and you really have been tremendous. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio, this man is traveling all over the place. He's always traveling. He's going to different countries. He loves it. He's a natural. He is a natural. There's never going to be anybody better than the job you're doing right now. We appreciate it. We have some big things coming up, too. Marco, we have some big things coming up, right? Some big things and some very positive things. And thank you very much. Doing a fantastic job. Who would have thought we fought like he was so tough, Ted? He was tough on that debate stand, right? And you were very tough on the debate stand, too. You guys were brutal. Who would think they're my friends? And now they're my friends. Well, they said it about Lincoln. He brought in all his enemies. Well, I don't know. They were sort of enemies, but they were very talented people. I want to tell you that. Director Russ Vogt is here, and thank you very much. Russ, where are you? Thank you. Great job. And all of the wonderful spouses. The most important people here are the spouses. Because without the spouses, it wouldn't work. We want to thank you, and also for the time, because your wives and husbands, I mean, they were very busy getting home at 4 o'clock. I can vouch for every single one of them. Getting home at 4 o'clock, getting home at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're saying, darling, were you really in Congress? Were you really sitting in your nice Senate seat? I don't know. So, but no, they worked long and hard, and you know what? They laugh. They never complained. They never complained once. And very few of them went back. They just sit late into the night while we got those final votes. Pretty amazing. In 2024, together, we won a mandate from the American people. We won every single swing state, and the Electoral College 312 to 226, and that was a big. Remember, they said there is a path to 70. You have to have 70, and 270, and there's a path to 270, and yeah, the path was 312. I mean, it was. I remember I went to Nebraska to get a vote, a single vote, and I went there, and it turned out we didn't need it. There was a certain circumstance under which that would have been a very important vote, and they were great in Nebraska, but we didn't need it. So we got 312. We won the popular vote by millions of votes, so we won counties throughout America 2,750 to 525. Think of that, 2,750 to 525. That's called a landslide. The one big, beautiful bill delivered on that mandate, and we've fulfilled so many of our promises. In fact, somebody said today, a person that's not particularly good for us said that we actually fulfilled more promises.
Okay, I want to pause really quickly here because we have a Starlink satellite launch ongoing. 12 Starlink satellites on a Falcon 9 rocket to launch here. This is at the Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This is live happening right now. Let me get rid of my graphic there on the bottom half of your screen. Let's go back out to it because we are 1 minute and 6 seconds into this launch. We'll stick with it for just a moment just to see if anything major happened. We as soon as this concludes, we will go back, but we just have some other news that is ongoing at this hour that, of course, I wanted to bring to you guys. So this is 1 minute and 26 seconds into the launch here. So you are watching that live full screen there as, do we have volume?
Heard. Coming up on a few events now in fairly rapid succession. We'll see first stage main engine cutoff or MECO, the conclusion of the initial burn of these 9 Merlin engines. That'll be followed by stage separation, and then the ignition of the second stage engine at about T plus 2 minutes and 36 seconds. T plus 2 minutes into flight now. Payload fairings will be jettisoned just before the 3-minute mark in flight.
Falcon 9 is following a nominal trajectory.
Good call on a nominal mission so far. Looks like we're seeing just the edge of the horizon there off the left-hand side of the plume. Coming up to Miko.
Main engine shut down. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
Good call-outs. Really nice visuals there from the onboard cameras. Nice view of the curve of the Earth and the horizon as we're coming up to fairing jettison.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Once back through the atmosphere, the payload fairings will make their final splashdown under the support of steerable parachutes. Now about 3.5 minutes into the mission, everything going nominally so far.
Okay, so you were kind of listening in there to them provide their commentary over this. This is live in Santa Barbara County, of course. Now we're in the sky, but this is where the feed is coming from here. Santa Barbara County, where we are watching these events as they occur. Again, SpaceX launching Starlink satellites to a low Earth orbit using a Falcon 9 rocket. You're listening in there to you are listening in rather to some commentary there. This is something that's not common, to say the least. It's kind of this is something that has to happen when we launch when SpaceX rather launches their Starlink satellites into the sky. So wanted to provide an update on what's going on there, because I know we were listening into President Donald Trump there. And what they were saying, it doesn't appear anything major. Let me turn the volume up just
now starting to make its way down towards the drone ship.
a little bit here.
Those thrusters, of course, help adjust the booster's positioning and angle.
Some silence there for
Sounds
just
like
a moment.
a
I'm sorry. I'm
fair
preparing
number of you
something.
actually got a nice view.
Here, let's go
Eric
back live
Burdick
now
saying the
out to
jellyfish
where this is
exhaust
all
was
ongoing.
spectacular
Starlink
from San Luis Obispo.
launched using the Falcon 9
Jimmy
to low
Harkins
Earth orbit.
calling it surreal.
Nothing major has happened just yet. This is kind of one of the things.
Sharon
You don't
S.
want
could see it
anything
all the way
bad to
out in
happen,
Phoenix,
but you of
Arizona,
course want to
which
watch
is
it in
very
its
cool.
entirety to see if something maybe wrong does happen. We're about 5 minutes 40 seconds into this all. Nothing too major at this
Jack,
happen.
good
You
views
see
from
there
Santa Cruz.
7,000
Excellent to hear.
and it continues to fly up kilometers. And we are 81.080
Coming up on the start of the
now,
entry
coming back
burn now
down.
again.
We'll see
Past
if the
the
landing
6-minute
is
mark in the mission is
soft
when
and
that's expected to begin.
up to par with what it's supposed to be. Looking live there, at where this is all ongoing. Traveling at this point in time pretty fast.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
We'll just continue to watch this live. Using the Falcon 9 now going to heading back towards Earth is what it looks like at this time. The altitude continuing to tick down as we were watching just a few moments ago.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown. Both vehicles remain on nominal trajectories.
Continuing to
Good
watch
calls
here
all
as
the
this
way around.
happens.
That one you heard regarding the FTS, that is the flight termination system on the booster, no longer needed at this stage in flight.
Reaching
Coming
9
up on 7
p.m.
minutes into
on
this
the dot,
mission.
11
Next
p.m.
up is the start of the
on the
landing
dot.
burn, which will use the center Merlin engine to cushion the booster as it makes its touchdown on the drone ship.
This feed is from SpaceX. So do want to give our courtesy to them for having this feed up and running and available for the media and the press to use. again, SpaceX launching the Starlink satellite into sky, which is kind of like it's like a Wi-Fi, but through satellite. Essentially, it's how it works. I was using a Falcon 9 to do
Stage 2 FTS is safe.
Falcon 9 rocket to
Sounds like a
do
lot of
this
folks in the
and
live
take it to
chat
a
got
low
really nice views tonight,
orbit. Now it
which is
looks
wonderful
as
to
if
see. Again, this mission flying a polar trajectory, and SpaceX is going to be flying
zoom into their commentary
several
for
more
a
of these
moment or
throughout
two.
the back half of 2025. So if you enjoyed the views tonight, there's more coming up.
Stage 1 landing burn. Stage 2 terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And a good touchdown for B-1082, wrapping up its 14th trip to space and back.
And back shutdown. Nominal park orbit insertion.
And with the upper stage entering into a nominal parking orbit, at this point it will remain in that coast phase until about T plus 53 minutes and 43 seconds. There will be a brief
You heard
2-second
it
burn
there,
on the upper
so
stage engine.
it will remain in that phase until, I believe he said 53 or some odd minutes there. We also have some more video of another launch site. We'll be watching and monitoring that as well. Before we left you, President Donald Trump was speaking over at the White House. We are going to bring you guys back to that as you take a look live there at the White House. But we are going to sneak in a quick little break before we do exactly that. Quick break, then we'll be back with the final remarks of President Donald Trump. And welcome back into Brookland News Live. Didn't want to waste too much of your time in an ad break there. Want to cut back pretty quickly here and watch the final moments here of Donald Trump's remarks at the White House at this to Joe B. Senator Let's listen back in here.
And this was done with a very fantastic woman named Melania, right? You worked together, First Lady, and you passed the Take It Down Act, something that was very important, that actually had very good bipartisan support, almost unanimous support. A couple of people, I won't tell you their names, but a couple of people. But that was incredible. So that was with Ted Cruz and Melania. We appreciate it, Ted. That was a great job. And just this week, we passed the Rescissions Act of 2025, slashing nearly $10 billion of waste. And I guess I could say some fraud and some abuse, but at least we can say waste, almost $10 billion. And we have numerous other rescissions coming up, adding more, many more $10 billion to it. So we're saving a lot of money. And on Wednesday, I signed the HALT Fentanyl Act. And earlier today, I signed Senator Bill Hagerty's Genius Act, and he named it after me, and I was really Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's why I liked it. I pushed very hard because of that. But to make America the crypto capital of the world, and that's what it's become. China wanted it. A lot of countries want it. But we are so far ahead, I think nobody's going to be able to come close anymore. So I want to thank you very much. Great job. We also did something that public broadcasting, they've been looking to get it out of there for billions and billions of dollars, and very, very unfair, very, very unfair reporting. They would, I would say they make CNN look honest. And we got rid of it finally. We got rid of it. We got rid of billions of dollars that was wasted on that. And Ronald Reagan tried. Everybody tried. You know,
as
everybody
we approach,
tried since Ronald Reagan and
a
before.
little after the top
And
of
John, we
the
got it
hour.
out.
You have been watching Brooklyn News Live for the last little bit. It's been a pleasure to be with you. We are looking to advance this, of course. We are going to do exactly that here at Brooklyn News. Lots of things to cover this day and this hour. So a look at all the things we're covering. It's so much. We've got a lot going on. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little busy at this screen. That's why we have it, because it makes us look really busy. Because there's always a lot of news going on. But you know, it's a late night. We got that iDrive Arkansas camera. A look at the White House, Capitol Hill, that SpaceX scene, and President Donald Trump, where he was just delivering remarks. There's so much occurring. Usually, where that Brooklyn News sign is, it would be more feeds, but it's 11 p.m. on a Friday, here in the Dinner Time Zone, 12 a.m. on the East Coast. So people aren't looking to be doing many overnight events unless it's in the international side of things. It's been a pleasure to be with you throughout the last little bit. That is going to do it for me on this Friday night, almost Saturday. No, it'll be Saturday. We've got a lot coming up here on in the future for Brooklyn News Live. We'll leave you out on a live look at Capitol Hill. You have been watching Brooklyn News Live throughout the last little bit, and it's been a pleasure to be with you.